scene or a knife scene, whatever. If you have somebody that you know, your wife, your boyfriend, your friend down the street, right? Get them to help you work it out as to what you're actually doing. And you're not going to be able to show all this in a fight scene on paper. You can't. What your characters are generally aware of in a fight, particularly if it's a sword fight or a knife fight, you're aware of things like, wow, I barely blocked this attack. He's going to come over this side, and I blocked there. I've got to get through. Again, you're going to be doing short sentences. You're not going to see the entire battle. Even in real fight situations, often afterwards. Now, I am involved in the SCA, and they do stuff there. I do regular fighting in the SCA, regular authorization marker. And many times afterwards, people stand back and they say, wow, what'd you do? It's like, you got me, how'd you get me? Because often it's what you don't see that gets you. And fight scenes, real fight scenes generally take place in a very short period of time. There is a way to make them longer. The way to make them longer is to make them some form of a running battle. That is your easiest way. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm too used to SCA blades, which we put point down, and they need to protect their points.
That's why I got this up here.
Yeah, you're familiar with that. But yeah, you guys are going to help me with this. Let's come out here and do this. Come out here and do this. We're going to do some real slow motion. I didn't realize you guys were still in the room. Did you guys need to come back?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the blinders on. Okay. So do a slow, just can you guys do a real slow. Okay. Now, stop. Okay. From your perspective, what did you see?
I went towards him, and I went to do a just moving knee work, brought it over.
Okay. Now, one of the things you'll notice here, she's not using fancy terminology. Be cautious of using real. You don't want to use a term like a moulinet or something like this. Even disengage. You can kind of use disengage. Most readers are going to know what they're not going to really know what a disengage is, but they're going to kind of get the idea of what it is. And block and things like struck high, struck low, those kind of things you can get away with. Avoiding the point. You guys want to go to the next move? Go ahead and block out this kind of stuff and figure out what you can do with it. As you do it, you may end up going over the same moves several times with your friends and say, okay, now what am I going to write out of this?
One thing they could,
Yeah,
that they might put in is, not necessarily put in, but know is the fact that when I was standing there, notice that I turned my
Yes.
body like this.
Yeah, he turned his body to make a smaller target.
Yeah, and also the feet. Okay.
That's going to depend a lot on the style
Yeah, on the
and
style.
the flavor. If you're writing a fight form where they use their offhand to block with, then you're going to have a forward stance.
The other thing that's interesting, and I've read her book, and she's doing left-handed.
Yes. Yeah, you do have to pay attention to that as well.
Because Mordecai's left-handed, isn't he?
Huh?
Is Mordecai left-handed?
Yeah, my main character is left-handed. I'm not, but my main character is. Do you have anything to add as far as advice on the writing of the fight scenes? I don't know what types of fight scenes you do in your vampire stuff.
Vampires. They just out.
Yeah.
They're out.
Yeah.
No, I don't really do it as complicated. In one story I wrote, I had to do she knew some karate moves, and I actually had a friend who was a black belt, so she blocked out the same one.
There you go. And that always helps. Go ask for expertise And if you're in a group, if you're in the area like here, I know you guys would be more than happy to work with an author. If they were wanting to do a fight scene and you wanted to block something out, most SCA groups would be more than happy to help you figure out something like that. So these are resources you can go to if you need to do that. But remember that in the bottom line of it, by the time you actually get done, this whole fight scene may be a paragraph or two. What leads up to it may be half a page or a page. But when you actually get down to the people swinging at each other, it's going to be short. It's generally going to be short. Okay, she wants to get some. We want some action. Go ahead. You guys.
Yeah.
And that's done quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got me over here, and on the line.
If John Woo was directing this, it'd be much slower.
You notice that the way their blades came, if you put a clock face up there, it would be moving around a clock face.
Yeah, you find that there's all kinds of different
Oh, that's it.
theories behind fight stuff. If you get into it, it can really, really be fascinating, the various styles and whatnot.
I was just thinking, because these fights, the sword kills in here is all Western European type style. See, I was just thinking about my boy and spent the money I spent for learning how to use a wooden sword to slice people up.
It depends. It depends on what you're writing. As Ginger Buchanan, Ace Berkeley editor, actually I think she's way up there now, but Ginger Buchanan of the Ace Berkeley Penguin Putnam Publishing Group once asked me, so if your book, this is a fantasy action adventure, but if your book was set on Earth, when and where would it be? Now the reason for this is you need to have some consistency. Unless you are really consciously trying to mix up your time eras and try to make that work, which can be very difficult. You want to know that, okay, so if it's mid-1600s, did they have cathedral bells? Did they have oil lamps? What are they using for light? All this stuff. Anyway, my answer to her was France. So I'm basing all my stuff off of a European model. Obviously, if you're writing something that's going to be based off of an Oriental model, then you're going to want to think of that. What was the culture and the level of science and everything in that era?
And also, who would know how to use it?
Yes, who would know? That's very important. Who would know? Who would know?